Hello. I was wondering if I might trouble you for a cup of strong black coffee, and in the process engage you with an anecdote of no small amusement.
Hello, and welcome to another episode here at Nerdherder.
Hello there.
I'm J-Dub. That is
I'm
startled.
Of course I know them. They're me.
It always surprises us when there's a show after the intro.
Well, because we just finished up a conversation
that
had nothing to do with what we're talking about.
We were having
tonight.
a good conversation. We
Then
played
all of a
some
sudden-
cool music, and then all of a sudden it's showtime. This is what happens when you get set early. So welcome to this where we are returning to our first love. I know what I'm doing, I promise. I'm really tired.
I'm sure, baby. I'm sure you're doing great.
I'm really tired, but you know what? I'm excited because being tired is the best time to record something on the internet. And so we decided to return to our first love of Star Wars. It's only been a couple of weeks, but what a week we took off as we talked about Face Off last week.
You didn't say it right. Face.
Thank you for the dramatic pause.
You're welcome. You got to.
And so have to palate cleanse after that for sure. Although if you listen back to the episode and if you're a patron and check out our commentary on it, you'll actually hear me say some pleasant things about it.
You do. I was very surprised.
Yeah, well, I think there was so much movie around Nick Cage this time, unlike like Ghost Rider.
Nick Cage is the movie.
Ghost Rider. I need a Cage-o-meter to be like how much Cage was in this one. Like Ghost Rider's 9.
Okay.
Face Off was like 4.
You know that sign that's up in the nurse's office or at the doctor's office that's like the level of pain that you're in and it's the different smiley faces.
Mm-hmm.
I can make you one of those. But it's Cage.
Right. Oh, that'd be amazing. He's got quite the array of expressions for that one too.
Face.
And so yeah, I had to return to some Star Warsy. If you're wondering, no, there's not a system. It's not 1 week Star Wars, 1 week not. No. It's kind of however it plays out. And
there are no rails.
If you listen to last week's, you'll know because if the thumbnail gives it away, we're not talking about Dooku.
No, we are not.
We're not talking about the one and only Count Dooku. This week,
beautiful eyes.
Moving it 2 weeks down the road, still happening with great guests, but it's because of those great guests that we're moving it. It wouldn't do it for anybody else, sure. But there you go.
Maybe win it trivia sometime.
We do it quite often. If you're ever wondering why our schedule is kind of sporadic, why we move to Sundays even, although there's a few people that are mad that we moved to Sundays because now they can't be on. Move your show.
Okay.
But it's usually to accommodate our guests, our friends.
Yeah. The people that are mad are Trandoshan haters. So do we really want to like...
Right. Hey, after this most recent Bad Batch episode, Dan should be living the high life. He's proven so right. It's like when a Republican, like a tragedy happens that a Republican's like been boasting about will happen all the time. And it's just like, see, I'm not racist. It happened. And it's just like, shut up. You're still racist.
I was so worried where that sentence was going.
What? I'm not saying that our dear sweet baby boy Dan, who receives a finger periodically from the boob
daily, it's on his desk,
is as bad, but it's one of those instances where one episode of Trandoshans being bad does not speak for the whole species, Dan. That's all I'm saying. Trandoshans are still pretty cool. One of them almost killed James T. Kirk, so there's points for that. But none of that is what we're talking about tonight.
No.
I know it's a Gorn. Shut up.
Thank you for saying it right.
I was saying that for Brennen because I'm sure Brennen would be the one to listen back and come after me.
Absolutely.
I know some Star Trek stuff. Okay. I want Star Trek 4 to happen so we can get a freaking Gorn in the new JJ verse. of
Mhm.
Star Trek. That would be
With-
cool.
Complete with booby window.
Yes.
Again this time.
Yes, with the keyhole sweater and everything. Oh goodness. You're
So
not late, you're
Charlie.
right on time. You know the first 30 minutes of this show don't count.
No, it's true.
Yes. So always love the folks that can stop by. The one thing is nice here is like not having the pressure of, oh, we've got to get right to the topic. But
No.
yeah, just a reminder, we do these live. You can check these out
Yes.
live, as mentioned, on Sundays now at 8, where we are now.
Mhm.
If you're listening to this in the future in your earbuds on Apple or Spotify or any one of those wonderful things, we love you too. But come by live, because
Hang
what
out
we're
with
talking
us.
about today, you can actively participate. You can always actively participate, but more than ever, we want to hear from anybody in the chat as we go along, because what we're doing is one of our new favorite kinds of shows here, where we go down a list of our favorite blank.
Yeah.
This week being the long-awaited, the Boop requested
Okay.
droid episode.
Yes. But also, there is a bone to pick in the room.
Oh, well, okay. Well, first, let's introduce our lovely, lovely guests for this episode. Let's go ahead and bring them in.
This is bad comedy.
It's us.
It's us.
We're the guests.
We are the host and the guest. We're like the,
Surprise,
Jesus
sorry.
and God. They're the same, but not the same. And so,
It's like
yeah,
Mothman and
it's
Ender
just us.
Cold.
but now we've officially started. So yes,
There you
pick
go.
your bone.
So I had a list. ready to go. And then I was given parameters.
That was for you, Brian.
All right. I was given
I have to give
the no bits
look,
parameter.
We're like 5. I don't know how many favorites. Somebody find that out for us. I don't know how many of these we've done so far.
Several bits.
But like there's so much room for overlap if we're not careful.
I know.
So the parameters are to ensure freshness
There's so
and variety.
there are only so many Star Wars characters. But I was given the parameters of no bits and no overlap.
I read this as the hosties with the mosters.
Hostesses with the
I might be
hostesses.
dyslexic.
I certainly am dyslexic.
Yes. So in order to keep it fresh and lively and variety, like that's why the honorable mentions category came in, I think, was because, all right, when they can't make the list because John said so, and we have to be true to ourselves. Like,
I'm trying to be true to myself. I'm trying to live my truth, and you're putting me under a bushel basket.
So for me, it's actual, because my brain won't let me pick the same thing twice. My own brain wouldn't even let me pick Boba Fett for my favorite bounty hunter because I thought that was too easy.
Your brain's mean.
So yeah. So welcome to my world.
Welcome to prime time.
Right. So for me, my honorable mentions, which I recently adjusted, will actually be ones that almost, like, I can't not mention almost making the list.
Yeah.
For you, it's going to be all the ones I told you can't pick on the list, on the actual list. Yes, boo my brain, please. Shame it as it shames me. And so in adjustment, because it is us.
Yes.
We are changing, or I changed how many we pick. So normally with guests, we've done this with 1 guest and 2 guests, and we round robin our top 3 favorites. I've got indigestion, so if I ever pause awkwardly, that's why. It's not because I'm dumb.
Oh, honey.
Just
you can be a
go
little
ahead.
dumb as a treat.
I am a himbo deep down, but
love that. Big fan.
so because it's just us, although we do invite our viewers tuning in live to chime in, and after the fact as well, links in the description for our social media. Hit us up with your favorite droids as well. But we will be giving you 5 of Nerdherder's favorites coming at you. And so this is a real treat. And hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully we actually, I'm like, it's going to be too slow if we, or too short if we do 3 each. Let's do 5. And now we're going to be like 3 hours long.
We're 9 hours in, or 9
Right.
minutes in.
So did you want to go ahead and mention the ones you couldn't
Yeah,
include on the list?
I would like to. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Brennen.
Hi, Brennen.
Hello there.
Yeah, so one of my favorite Star Wars characters of all time is IG-88. I love him so much. He is my sweet, soft baby boy.
Yeah.
Well, he's not soft. He's got, hard.
I'm
plastic.
into it.
And I'm never gonna yuck anybody's yum or float somebody's goat. But yeah, I love the story of IG-88 in Tales from the Bounty Hunter. He is one of my favorite bounty hunters as well. So I've already used him twice, I think, in our listicles.
Oh, you might have, because I think you picked him for bounty hunters, and you snuck him in on Imperials. You got really clever on the Imperials one, because you got
No.
and
it wasn't Imperials. It was Legends characters, wasn't it?
I don't think we did that one. Or maybe maybe it was just bounty hunters.
Maybe.
I think you only got him in there once.
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
You did get Mouse Droid,
yeah,
which
is another one.
You spent it for a gaff.
It was not a bit. I will forever say that was not a bit. They're legitimately my favorite Imperials.
There are very few droids I can consider Imperials, though. Like, for me, I have a problem thinking of a Mouse Droid in the same category as a fascist.
They're fascist mailboxes, okay?
They're so cute, though. They're victims of the industry. They're made for fascists, and so it's just like that's why we fight the good fight, guys. It's to free the mouse droids from their servitude.
To all of the mouse droids after the Empire fell.
Well, they were being used in general. So to be fair, to my point,
but it's not as funny.
Mouse droids are well, they're galactic wide. Honestly, the Navy really needs them, because part of it's that is that you see it in A New Hope. They help troops get through. You can't on a small moon-sized battle station expect Phil the Stormtrooper to know how to get to the cafeteria all the time from any place there. That's the mouse droids are the Boy Scouts that come along, and it's just so follow me. It's just I'll help you across the street. And so, but yeah, so they have servitude throughout, but unfortunately, and I choose to believe that the Empire paints them black. I think everywhere else they're gray and colorful or whatever.
It's like gonk droids. They come in multiple colors.
Right. Tatooine's just no, you got to be brown to live here. You got to blend in with the scenery. I got to bump into you in the night and yell, "Bob Saget." Oh, so yes. Mouse droids are already spent. You shot your shot. IG-88 is out there, but spiritually they are if you had to, where do you think they would have ended up without the parameters?
Definitely both are high on the list. Boop don't rank. I only rank in these episodes, and even then they're not.
You do rank. You rank number 10 in my book.
Out of what?
10 out of 10. You're
okay.
In the context of you're the bestest.
Oh, okay, that's cute.
I guess number 1 is what I should have said. But
yeah.
I am
I'd like
a sleepy
to see the
boy.
rest of that list.
What list?
The list you just mentioned.
Oh, it's mostly you.
Okay. Like my mall list.
BB-8's amazing. BB hate.
Yeah.
I don't think that is a missed opportunity for yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
That should have been the First Order ball droid in The Last Jedi. That's amazing. All right, well, we've primed the pump, so let's go ahead and get into this, get jiggy with it. So if you want, go ahead and hit me with your number 5.
I should probably look at my list.
There you go. You're not actively looking at it and changing it like I am.
Well, here's the thing. It's not really in a particular order. This is just how I feel.
Goodness gracious.
So my number 5 is IG-11.
Okay.
So yes, another IG droid who I absolutely adore.
That's vastly different too. Yeah. For sure. It's not like picking that battle droid, and then the next episode picking another battle droid. They're characters.
Yeah, I mean, he is a fully fleshed out character voiced by Taika Waititi, who is one of my favorite people in general because, you know,
It makes me
personality.
wonder if all IGs are
I
Kiwis.
Yes. Oh my God. So, you know what I want? You know what I want? I need a full team of IG droids voiced by Taika Waititi, Rhys Darby,
Yes.
Jermaine Clement, and what's his face?
I want Jermaine to be IG-88. I think I feel
Yes.
after Moana, I feel like he's got
the villain chops.
Yeah, I because IG-11 is bad by profession. IG-88 is straight evil.
He's not bad. He's just made that way.
I mean that makes him bad.
Yeah.
Oh, IG kindergarten cop.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
I think we talked about it when you mentioned him. He's like the closest Star Wars equivalent other than Valance to a Star Wars Terminator.
Oh yeah, he is so cool. That scene in The Mandalorian blows every other droid scene out of the water in, you know, live action Star Wars. But like he is got all of the attitude. He is willing to give up at a moment's notice.
I love, he's a droid with anxiety.
Initiating self-destruct.
Yeah, so like minor inconvenience happens.
Exactly. And you know, he comes back to be the nanny. I'm big into that.
I love it.
I love care and protect droids.
Yeah, it's quite a care, and that's part of it. Is like his journey is quite an interesting one. Yeah. So it's like,
and he goes out of his way to comfort Din to take off his helmet.
Right. I love all of that. Like, don't get me wrong, season 2 and the Book of Boba Fett Mando stuff, really good. Season 1 just hits different, man. I don't know. I rewatched all of season 1 and I was just like so elated and happy. It's just so well done. And it's not casting the rest in bad light. It's just like, I don't know, this just hits such a sweet spot. But I will say, like, one thing too with IG-11 is that like Rogue One did really well as like in settings and in planets. Like you see the planets in Rogue One as ships approach, and you compare that to shots in A New Hope. Like they captured that it was made in 1977 vibes so well.
And everything was dirty
and digital. It's incredible. But K2SO does not necessarily seem like he would pop out and hang out with classic C-3PO. It looks like a newer droid. IG-11, the mix of practical and CGI, they managed to make it look believable, but also like if IG-88 just popped off on the Executor. Like it looked so good.
Man, I desperately need in Rebels era stories.
Yes, IG-88 B, I think, from Shadows of the Empire. Yeah, that's a good one. That's the thing. I loved that back then he was getting that notoriety. Like he was popping up everywhere. I think it was just the appeal of the 80s and the sci-fi era that it was, where it's just like, we've got a cool guy with a jetpack over here, we've got a walking toaster over here.
Mummy.
Like, right.
Got a bug guy.
You could make most of the original bounty hunters into Universal monsters. I love it.
Dengar turns into a Universal monster at some point.
Pretty much. All right. Well, interesting number 5, because like it's only up from there, and that was IG-11. So interesting. Oh, I am so scared of what you're about to do, because you always manage a bit.
There are no bits. I swear to G, there are no bits.
Okay. So my number 5 is probably very vanilla to a lot of people, but as sort of what I would argue the original recipe, I feel like you have to. And what I was thinking of when making my list was, I want them to be a character. So like you mentioned with IG-11, like I do think if you're going off of just canon, IG-11's way more of a character because he's just got more going on.
Yeah.
He had significant play in a TV show. IG-88's got a couple of comics and an appearance mostly
also has issues
on the bridge of the Executor in episode 5. So I was like, all right, I want them to have something going on that makes me like them. But I also have to be honest with just the fact of like, I tried not to include this on my list because I wanted to be different, but I just couldn't get away from it. It's just like, no, I really like him. I love R2D2.
Yes,
And
the
so
potty mouth droid.
I had to start where I think everybody starts with favorite droids, because like C3PO, I didn't like C3PO until episode 9, man.
Yeah.
It took a long time. But I always loved, like R2 went from just being the fun companion, the helper to the main characters, to being quite a character in the prequels and in the Clone Wars.
Being gay married.
Right. Yeah, it's one of those things where he's the one you invite to the cookout, and you just like, yeah, bring C3PO too, I guess.
Yes.
You
can
if
bring
you must.
napkins.
If you can't leave the spouse at home, I guess so.
Yes.
Yeah, I just think a lot starts from there. He's always been helpful. He's always been interesting. And I think that's the big thing, is it's like where it falls back for me with C3PO is he's super iconic for sure, but he's also really, really annoying. He again has moments where he's sentimental to me for sure.
Yeah.
But largely he's annoying. And he's supposed to be. I get that. R2, I don't think I've ever been annoyed with R2.
No.
I don't think I've ever had a beef with R2. I think he's always been the galaxy's goodest boy droid.
Yeah.
Like, it just works. And he's just, I don't know. It's nothing quite as iconic as that astromech body, like design and everything.
Not just, his design, but sound design as well.
True.
Like, he has a distinct voice to him, and you can tell his feelings and what he's saying through the noises that he makes, which is very odd with a non-speaking character.
I love those choices in Star Wars where, like, you've got Chewbacca, where he's not translated. You have R2 who's not translated. You get it through context and through situation. I get you can't do that a lot and all the time, but I love that they're just such a part of the fiber of Star Wars that it's just like they make sense, like colloquially and also like lore wise, like they make sense to the story. I can't imagine Star Wars without R2. Like, he's been there for the majority of the significance events of the saga and beyond, really. So yeah, R2. I had to start simple.
Good job, baby.
Absolutely. I almost wanted to be like, no, I like R4 better because he's red, but no, I was true to my feelings.
Yeah. Well, I have a mix of actual characters and not actual characters. More like
you can do whatever, boo.
I love a genre of droid just as much as I love an individual droid. And my number 4 is B1 battle droids.
Really?
Yes. I freaking love the prequels. That is not a secret around here. But just that extra little bit of flavor is those dumb, adorable little droids that
So you're team dumb droid when it comes to battle droids?
Majorly dumb droid. I love a himbo. I am a thimbo myself. So, you gotta represent. I am such a big fan of the fact that they knew the Separatists knew they were not going to win with intelligence at all. I mean, you get the tactical droids; they're important for a reason. They were going to win with numbers, and that is, I think, the only plan that they had.
I mean, that's what they were fed, for sure.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
There's no way. First of all, there's only so many Jedi. There's no galactic army, or there's no army of the Republic anymore. Like, you got this. And then there's army of the Republic, and then they're like,
oh man.
Well, they can't clone all. Like they'll run out of clones eventually.
Yeah. For sure.
But I mean, even still, like the thing that we did see was, without a lot of tampering, the war was at a standstill, and the outer rim sieges in the latter part, effectively what's going on up to the end, it was a stalemate, which is almost as bad as like the bad guys winning. Like when the good guys can't overcome them, that's almost as bad, like ongoing war.
Yeah, and that is through, like I said, sheer numbers. They could just keep making battle droids. there was no shortage of, Geonosians in their factories. Techno Union, great name, awesome name, was just pumping them out by the bajillions.
Mhm.
So, of course, the template for those droids is not going to be high intelligence.
Oh, for sure.
And even like the commando droids, they get taken care of pretty easily as well.
Yeah, well, because at the end of the day, I mean, and you kind of see it with clones too, is why they couldn't overcome is like, yeah, they had the better decision making intact, but they were also still just people. So it's like even like commando droids, tougher, but you still just shoot them.
droid.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like a well-placed blaster or, lightsaber just
Yeah.
absolutely destroys them. And it's not just, what they are and how many of them there are and how stupid they are. Love that. But also the little characterizations that they get
Yeah.
over the Clone Wars, over the prequels, where they're just so cute. Like the droid that nudges the other one when General Grievous like powers up.
Right. Well, because you think there's so many of them, and it's so like sterile and like simple that yeah, they're bound to get these like little interesting quirks because of the quote unquote
Yeah.
lifestyle they have.
Yeah.
Like the most crazy thing that happens is when the Jedi show up.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah.
then you get like the individuals that have, kind of gone against their programming. Like you get Mr. Bones, who is an insane droid. I love a murder droid, and he is a good one.
Yeah.
And then you get Roger.
Yeah.
I love Roger so much. He's just a little guy making his way through the galaxy.
I think the decisions in making them crazy, goofy guys was for the existence of Roger,
Yeah.
so that Roger made sense.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like you got to think these are characters from movies for kids and from a show for kids. Like, of course, they're not going to be like if they leaned into the sheer horror that is. Oh, these are like the bajillions of like beasts coming at you made of metal. Yeah, you can probably just knock them over, but like being overwhelmed is something that happens a lot in the show and in a couple times in the movies.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is it's just like regardless of their individual like intelligence, once they get like going on a path though.
Oh yeah, they're going.
Yeah.
They
like
won't stop. Like the scene and the Battle of Naboo. That could be scary if you think about it too hard.
Yeah, for sure. I
Like
mean,
they just keep coming.
There's still spook factor to it, but at the same time, they cut that edge by also being goofy. So yeah, it's a weird, interesting little place to live in with B1 battle droids.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool, very good.
Your turn.
So my number 4 is so originally. So I'll go ahead and put my honorable mention because it was supposed to be number 4. My honorable mention is HK-47. Who
Explain.
He is an assassin droid that works for Darth Revan from the KOTOR games. He's the one
he does.
famously quoted. He calls people fleshies and meatbags, and he's just oh gosh, I can't think of him, but it's just like I'm in your servitude, but I loathe your existence kind of things. Like
Marvin.
I'm so superior to you in every way, but I can't kill you. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's just like really cool character, really fun in the game. Yeah, really cool. Also, again, coming off like it's a hunter killer droid, even furthering the references to Terminator with the hunter killer planes and drones and everything. So it's just like, oh my gosh. And they effectively were. So HK-47 was a K2SO type reprogramming in a way. He was much more of a character than his model was supposed to be, but the others were absolutely Terminators. So it's just like this was the most evil, like what you're talking about. If you want all evil, no fun, you've got HK droids. Yeah. For sure.
All evil, no fun.
All evil, no fun. Also, honorable mention, just because we're on the topic, I'll mention the Yuuzhan Vong killer droid because it's literally a Terminator.
I'm gonna leave. Goodbye.
It's the only good thing to come out of the Yuuzhan Vong.
You mentioned the Yuuzhan Vong.
I will not.
Everybody take a shot.
I won't go back on that one. But anyway, so I then replaced that very quickly with, I can't believe I forgot to include them on my list, but L3. Had to include L3 because
Had to.
of just how much they rippled the waters on our understanding of droids and what droids can and can't do, and the kinds of characters that droids can and can't be. Having a self-made droid, and a lot of people, I think, rightly citing L3 as a allegory for the trans experience of just like, I'm not who I'm made to be or who people say I am. I'm going to
Yep.
make myself what I say I am. I'm going to live my life. I don't think I should have to, you know, do these mundane tasks or serve people just because
Mhm.
I'm a droid. I'm a person. Like, these are
Yes.
such big ideas in a movie about a heist. And I love Solo, but it's like, this is one of the most interesting nuggets of that amazing movie. It's a really good movie. And then there's this on top of all of that, you're going to drop on there just like, oh, droids can be whatever they want to be. Well, I mean, yeah, but I didn't
Exactly.
think about that. Like,
If
it's so amazing.
L3 and Chopper came into contact with each other,
Oh my
world would never-
gosh.
the world would catch fire.
If L3 introduced the concept of Chopper having legs, we should all be afraid.
Oh my god, not just any legs. I think he would have handsome Squidward legs.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Just,
for sure.
Like sculpted to the gods.
Well, and I think of too, like, although, so L3 is obviously literally made, and you can see where they gave themselves limbs.
Yeah.
The ferryman droid in Mando, I like to think did the same thing. I know if you look at it, you can tell he's made that way.
Thank you for reminding
But
me of the ferryman.
I think it's more interesting if he was just like, I want a boat.
I need a job. I'm gonna get this boat.
I'm Perry, the ferryman.
Nothing will compare.
This is my wife, Mary.
To seeing that droid just sitting on the boat and then stand up.
Right?
That was such a good moment.
It's so good. I love little things like that where it's literally, you can tell, like, in the creative process, they were like, what if he stands up?
What if he stands up?
But yeah, I love it. We talked about, oh my gosh, I can't remember when, but in the last couple of months, we talked about how disappointing L3's story kind of ends. We talked about that with Andy. I don't remember, again, the specific context, but like, yeah, just talking about like, oh yeah, like it kind of stinks to build up so much to this identity, this realization of self-worth and self-image, and then have all of that taken away so that the Falcon can escape. Wah, wah, big L there for me, but it doesn't take away who L3 is, I think.
No.
Like, regardless of how they end up, because I guess they felt like they had to in the writer's room, her story is so dang interesting. And I don't want more copies of L3. I don't just want a bunch of L3s, but I do want more stories of droids choosing things like that. Like, this most recent episode of Bad Batch, and I don't feel like this is a spoiler, it's Sunday, like, and it's not that big of a deal, but there's a droid like cartel.
I know.
Which, if you've read the books, then you know that there is a droid cult out there. If you've read the, I think it's Aftermath books is where they first show up. Like, yeah, that's a thing. I get it from the context of like, oh no, we think we're the superior race because we're droids. That's one thing. These droids are doing a crime. Like, that's so interesting to me.
Them.
Were you programmed that way? Did you program yourselves? Who was the original blueprint? Like, what if we get more context so interesting. To that? I'd love it.
And it's IG.
I'd love it even more.
I know.
But anyway, I could go on and on. But yeah, L3 is so unique and interesting. And I want more unique and interesting droids. I don't want just like, even B2EMO like is an interesting take on an astromech droid. It's a traumatized old guy. Like, that's more interesting than just another R2 copy. Like, more of that, please. I cited R2 as the blueprint. He is, but we can move on. Like, he started it so that we can run from here. Like, let's keep it interesting for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry, I got on the soapbox there.
3?
That would be number 3. You're 3, yes. You're number 3.
Okay, so I don't have to look at my list for this one because I just looked at it.
Okay.
Destroyer droids. Or
Yeah, roly-polies.
Droids or roly-polies, of
Sorry.
course.
Yes.
They are so freaking cool.
Oh my gosh.
Like, if I'm gonna pick something just on cool factor, that wins out every single time.
There was nothing quite like I know the B2 battle droids appearing in Attack of the Clones were prefaced with like they are beefy, they are strong, they are menacing.
They
I
have
get
a little face.
I get yeah. All of that goes away when you realize that.
Aw, little
But,
guys.
yeah. I love that for sure, but nothing quite hits like that first time that Obi-Wan's like, Master, destroyers, and then these things just show up.
And you can tell that
What?
he's freaked out.
Like, and okay, going back to the blueprint, imagine growing up playing with like 2 points of articulation R2D2 and 4 points of articulation C3PO.
And all of a sudden, a centipede comes out of nowhere and it has a shield and guns.
Right. This was insane.
Yeah.
This was there's nothing quite like that first like moment when it shows up on screen.
And like you said, like they're roly-polies. They are pill bugs.
Yes.
They are adorable looking guys. They got little legs.
It's really clever.
Roll around. Love that. Talk about mobility. They are literally a wheel that shoot.
Right.
They are easy to dispatch if you know how to do it. And
no, Bad Batch disproved that one too. Like it's hard.
Yes, but like I said, if you know how to do it,
for sure,
you just got to get a thermal detonator
just right. While the balls are shooting at you, you got to get this just right.
Exactly. And I remember playing the Lego Star Wars game as a kid and being so irritated again in that one hallway scene with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan in like the first few missions, because I could not figure out how to beat the roly-polies.
To be fair, I don't know if they even tell you.
They don't.
Like, you're supposed to double jump and like ground pound on them, and then that disables the shield, and then they're easy.
Yep.
But I don't remember if it tells you that. Like, I don't know.
This is one of the first things in the game. You have not yet learned how to play the game.
If you can't make it past this, oh boy, Darth Vader's gonna suck.
Back in my day, we didn't have tutorials. Well, we did, but they were integrated into the game, and the game taught you how to play the game. Go play Nintendo.
That's how you're supposed to do a tutorial.
That's how Mega does it.
The sound engineering on these two. Oh. Like the sound of them like chicking in place, you know, like all the sounds like of them unfolding and
then the blaster bolts.
Oh yeah, well that like the shield, the things popping off the shield, like
the roller sound.
They're
so good.
Such an interesting play, like technically, and again also like they look so good. Like it's not like battle droids, I guess, because they're so simple and static often. Yeah, it's easy to get those right, but like digitally to bring this alive in 1999, this was pretty dope. And it seemed like a career ending. Like when the Jedi are running away from it, that tells you, oh, this is bad.
Yeah, they're mobile turrets. That is insane if you think about it.
So, and I hate that they didn't get used as much. Like obviously the Clone Wars is the thing, but like in the prequels, like after episode 1, they really don't show up as much.
No.
But to be fair, we also introduced a lot of droids along the ranks of the Confederacy. So
do you have any idea how jazzed we were when they showed up in the Bad Batch?
Oh, right.
Like,
and very like, you know, I will admit there were parts of episode 7 where largely I was unbothered by the new details, because it's just like, okay, it's a little bit prettier. Obviously the mocap lightsaber fight is a huge improvement, but it's not till Bad Batch with that episode where they go to try and occupy that planet, the scenes of them fighting off the droids and everything,
which is a cool episode.
So good. Like that's the first time I think I was really like, oh my god, they've gone out of their way to update this. This looks so much better.
It is a far cry from the Clone Wars.
And I'm a huge apologist for it too. Like I'm a big defender of the original thing, and so it's just like to finally get me on team like, oh no, this is better. Like it's impressive, and a big part of that was definitely the roly-polies in Bad Batch. So
absolutely,
yeah. For sure.
Yeah. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is probably not much of a surprise, but he's just a better version of the Blueprint. And so
I know.
I went with my spirit droid, Chopper.
Yeah.
I love Chopper. He's amazing. I again, talking about, all right, we've got R2. We don't need to keep copying R2. Let's get new. This was a great way to do the classic droid dog companion for the family.
Chopper's a cat. Let's be real.
If anything, yeah, he's a cat. Make him antisocial. Make him a war veteran. Even
make him angry.
Also, design him completely different. Like, whereas we've gotten like box-headed R2 units, where it's like, oh, you're just part swapping.
Yeah.
Here we have a completely new and original astromech design that I thought was pretty interesting, and I appreciate it being an older design. They're not showing it up on every corner because, oh, the kids really love this one now. It's like, no, that like those are out of style. That's why Chopper's special.
Yeah, he's short and he's squirt, and I love that so much about him.
He's got two right feet,
little arms.
He's got which that one's even better. Like the superior like appendages for an astromech, because it's like R2's little flappies in the front and the little, twisty bits. It's like, okay,
the flappies and the twisty bits,
functional, but can he hold my hand?
Not only would Chopper not hold your hand, he would smack you.
He will only hold Hera's hand.
It's true.
He's got a heart in there somewhere, and I love him. And also, he was introduced into the Syndulla family by crashing in a Y-wing. So
you do
bonus points there. He knew what ship was the one that would win the war. He knew the ship. And so, all right, yeah. Bonus points for that.
Also, I say that R2 has a potty mouth.
Oh,
Chopper
absolutely does.
A trash mouth.
The only reason I feel like in The Last Jedi they were willing to make that joke is because the door was blown wide open by Chopper.
Oh yeah, there is literally a scene in the first few episodes of Rebels where he just goes,
yeah, like you can, if you want to, you can dub his lines because you can tell what Dave Filoni was saying. So regardless of what you feel about the man, he plays a good mean droid.
He does. And he also has guns.
Oh,
I feel like we moved past that way too quickly in Rebels.
Like, and that's the thing is like R2 saves the day by being smart and clever and a little bit of a trickster. Chopper shoots you.
Chopper has guns.
Chopper will kill you.
He is very bad at pretending to be an Imperial.
He solves the problem very well. Like, I mean, it's too good. He's everything R2 was too scared to be. So I like character alone puts Chopper pretty high on the list. And like I said, I wanted to vehemently exclude R2, but he managed his way in there. But nonetheless, there is the Blueprint has been improved for sure. So you're number 2. Hi, baby.
Speaking of the Blueprint being improved upon, there is something that I've said before in this episode. I love a murder droid so much. I'm a big fan of this thing is meant to be helpful, and yet it will kill you. I love that trope in movies. I love it in anything that I can get my hands on. There is something so special about an evil C-3PO, painted black with red eyes.
For sure.
000 is such a cool character because he is a universal evil doctor in a droid body. I love that.
Mad scientist.
So much. Like, he is torture droid, but, tall and elegant. And, if he had a voice, he would be voiced by Vincent Price. Absolutely.
Ooh, that's good. I like that. Yeah, I really, and it's partly because of the play, which is interesting because I've picked 2 astromech droids that have, I'd argue, better and more character than a lot of protocol droids. But in the case of 000 and BT1, I feel like BT1 is just gun, whereas 000 actually gets to be, like you said, mad scientist.
Oh yeah.
He's the one that gets to speak. He gets to say all of the things. He hates humans. He is a lover of torture.
He's just a goofy little guy, you know?
And he gets paired off on adventures with Dr. Aphra and Darth Vader. Like,
Yeah.
I love that Darth Vader like got inadvertently evil versions of his two droids.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of the astromech.
BT-1.
BT-1. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And so, whereas 000 is technically not the droid body was made for him.
Yeah.
It's his brain.
He's the programming.
Yeah, which is kind of scarier
Yeah.
because imagine putting that in like a droideka or some other
God.
menacing thing. Oh yeah. Whereas he'll get you with a scalpel, there's droids out there with his brain that would just destroy the world. Like, imagine his Matrix in the Death Star.
Yeah.
Like,
I would love to see that. Oh my gosh, you're a genius.
Scary.
Do you remember? Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, BT-1 is literally just, like I said, astromech gun droid. Like, he
shoots you. He has fire, but
which it's funny that like they thought that was the evil version.
Yeah,
because it's like 000 makes sense. Like, no, he's a personality. That's what gets you. BT-1 is just an astromech that they slapped rockets on.
I know.
Like, okay, Tarkin, whatever, man. You know,
it's like droid, cooler droid, one with sunglasses, one without.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, for sure. It's just like droid with gun. So
yes. You remember this was a long time ago, and don't go back and listen to old episodes. I'm begging you. When the Rise of Skywalker trailer had come out, and we were like talking about it, we were speculating responsibly, as I said.
No, we were speculating so irresponsibly
because
we saw that one poster and just like, whoa.
There was in the trailer when 3PO's eyes go black or red. I looked at you and I was like, hey, what if he gets implanted with the 000 matrix? Which is stupid, and they never would have done.
We were right there with a lot of people like, oh, eyes and gun, he's going evil.
He's going
like C-3PO is done with your stuff, man. Like, he is over it.
There were a lot of speculation. We could not figure out Claude.
Oh yeah. I mean, I still
can't.
I still don't. Like, we talked about that. Like, I love how fascinated Alden is with Claude. And we were talking about this. I don't know if it was on the show or not, but like how he does stuff. I was just like I was just imagining like how he just throws his fat at components.
He just face wiggle around.
Yeah, pretty much. And like he can control all the little blobby bits on his face to where it works.
Prehensile tongue.
Yeah, it's just like, imagine Blob but can move. Like, have you seen that like programmable like magnetic matter?
Yes, I have.
Like, cool. Imagine that is Claude. Like,
have you seen Slime Mold?
He could just move things, but instead of fingers and digits, he's got goo. Like, he's got blobby bits.
Is the blob.
He is the blob. It's amazing. Yeah, he's so fascinating.
Yeah. It's peak character design where J.J. Abrams was like, we need a mechanic. We need a character. Right. So should we have a guy with a bunch of arms? Should we have like a droid?
I wish it was more of a joke. Like, I love the one time where Finn walks past him and it's just like, how's it coming? He's like, oh. But I wanted more of a joke where it's just like when they land and the Falcon's on fire and Poe and Rey are fighting and everything. Like after they walk away, Finn's just like, well, get to work, Claude. And he's just like, whoa, whoa.
He's like overturned on his side. Just like,
oh, if Leia hadn't disappeared, it was just like, hey, Claude, we're out of pallbearers. We need you there. It's just like, oh, Claude is a gift.
What number are we
on?
That was my number 2.
That was your number 2, not Claude.
No.
Yes, that was your number 2.
Yeah,
000.
000.
Read those classic Dr. Aphra comics for sure.
Oh, they're so good.
I haven't watched. I haven't been able to catch up on the new run of Dr. Aphra, but the original stuff, I mean, such interesting things. Indiana Jones mixed with like, Reanimator, like.
So good.
It's so good. It's so good. Check it out. I'm sure the new stuff is just as good. I'm just way behind on comics. My number 2 It was really hard. I knew my number one before I knew anything else, and I knew this yesterday. I knew in my heart of hearts what my number one was, so I couldn't move it, although I really, really, really wanted to, because my number two is the only reason I was able to get through the slog of a game that is Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. I hated playing that game. I'm saying it on record. I did not have a good time. It was so difficult to get through. But what got me through it, and just by coincidence ended up being like my last big mission, was gathering the Gonks of Rin, the Knights of Gonk, I believe, for the one and only Gonkatine.
All right.
You know what I'm.
I'm on board.
Okay, so when you're exploring, the only good thing about this game was the side quests most of the time, and what you do is you just visit planets, travel around, and get side quests from characters just strewn about the galaxy. And if you go to Exegol and you explore the pits, one of the characters you can meet and interact is Gonkatine. He's a red Gonk droid, and he's basically the Gonk equivalent to Palpatine if you couldn't gather. And what you have to do is he sends you on a mission to gather the Knights of Gonk, so that they can, raise up their Sith army, Sith Gonk droid army. So in trying to finish all the Gonk missions, this was the last one. It was amazing. And once you finish all the missions, you get rewarded a Gonk ship, which is just a Gonk droid that flies through space. It's amazing. It was the most rewarding thing I got out of that game, and just made it all worth it. And so, yeah, I mean, it's really that. It's just, so to get you an idea of his personality, I pulled up Wikipedia for all of mine. I really haven't.
Shout out to Wikipedia.
Yeah, I haven't really referenced much of it, but for a dip into his personality, just because if you didn't play the game, and if you didn't play the game to completion like I did, and I completed it. I completed it as it existed before they added more crap in there. And I'm not going back, and I'm not getting those characters because it doesn't make playing the game any more fun to be Rex for once. I hated it. But anyway, sorry.
Wow.
I have strong feelings about that, and it makes me sad because I was so eager.
The last time I've seen you this angry about a video game, you were playing Breath of the Wild.
It broke me. It was sad. Like I wanted to like the game, but it's just like, I don't know if it's because it's modern and because I grew up playing the original so much where I couldn't dissociate from what I thought this should be. Yeah. Also, I don't know if I'm just not good at modern takes of gaming because they were just like in story mechanics and like things they would ask you to do where it's just like, this works on paper, but actually doing this is but crazy. Like, it was so frustrating to do. And a Lego Star Wars game should not leave you frustrated ever. Like, there's a difference between missing the tutorial and doing it wrong.
Yeah.
There's a difference between I'm doing the thing and I hate it, but I can't put it down until I'm done because it's Lego Star Wars. I owe it to finish it.
You're gonna hate it, but I really want to make you play Assassin's Creed now.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I have bad luck with trying anything other than the same like 20 games I grew up on, man.
It's like how I can't play any console game that's not made by Nintendo because of the button pattern and the controls.
I've reached that point where if it's not, and that's the thing is I trusted this because it's like, oh, this is an update to an existing game I love and am good at, right? Because the thing is, I've loved and enjoyed every modern Ratchet and Clank game, and I've been playing those games for 20 years. So it's like, yeah, it's still good because it's still Ratchet and Clank. I thought this would still be Lego Star Wars, but it's completely different. It's beautiful. It has so many fun characters, but it was just not good content.
Yeah.
And so the saving grace of it were little fun things like this. That's what I say. Like the side quests were the most fun, getting to find characters, getting to, planet hop and see different parts of the galaxy. Like the most interesting things were outside of the story of the Lego Star Wars stuff for me. And so, and ending as ridiculous as this, like not only did they give Gonk's missions that you could complete for the ultimate Gonk reward, but they had fun with it like this. There was a Gonk talent show. There were so many things where it's just like, this is amazing. Like, this is fun. Why, like more of this, please. And so Gonkatine. So a quote from Gonkatine: "If Gonkatine can not join existing gang, Gonkatine make own, presenting Knights of Gonk, but not much gang with only one member. Need helpful minion to recruit more." And you are that helpful minion. And obviously, in addition to completing the mission and getting to the next Gonk reward, you also get to unlock the character of Gonkatine, who I used very frequently.
Liberally.
I loved pairing him up with Saida Nathano, the red Corsair, because I liked matching color palettes. Also, another fun one was Sith Eternal Emperor with Gonkatine, because Palp and Gonk, it makes sense.
It do be.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I love Gonks in general, but to have one that, like, I just imagine, like, just imprinted Palpatine on his personality, like the biggest Palpatine fan ever.
What if that was another plan?
I
will input my personality into a youngster.
Yeah, what if he possessed the droid and was just like, wait a minute, this isn't my body.
This isn't right.
But a part of him stayed. A part of him was left there. And Gonkatine was born.
Why are my legs so short?
My legs aren't moving. I must need maintenance. I loved it so much. It was such a fun little surprise. It was one thing to happen upon him, because it's just like, oh, you're a bad boy, and then it's just like, oh no, you think you're somebody. Okay,
you're a good bad boy,
right?
Half bad, half good, half.
So
bad,
yeah, if you were wondering what I thought of Star Wars Lego Skywalker Saga, there you go.
I wasn't, because I've heard it.
Oh my gosh,
so much.
I'm never playing that game again, and
I might.
Again, that's sad, but you know what? I got a PS2 now. I will play the good version.
Wow.
Trust me, I'm not happy about it either, because I love the sequel trilogy, and exploring that galaxy in Lego was appealing as heck to me. But no, I'll be over here waiting for the sequel to the Lego Star Wars Clone Wars game whenever TT wants to get on that.
Jedi Survivor? That's coming out.
I don't have a PS5.
Oh, yeah.
I am having a bad time at gaming right now.
It's a great time to learn to play PC games. Come on. You know you want to do it?
I don't, though.
Okay, that's fine.
I do want to know your number one, because we're finally there.
Well, first, I have another honorable mention, which is right here behind me. Speaking of the sequel trilogy, for our non-visual watchers, Dio is a droid that I identify so hard with.
Right. It's the trauma.
One of the first things he says to someone is, "No, thank you."
Right.
With being touched. And in the theater watching that, I was like, that's me.
This guy gets it.
This guy gets it. This droid is me, but like slightly shorter. I chew roll very fast.
Right.
But yeah,
I have a squeaky wheel.
All of his dialogue is
squeaky wheel eliminated.
Like,
it's such a baby. It's such a cute so thing. It's just like, my shoe is untied. Untied shoe eliminated.
You have to negative.
It's so amazing.
But yeah, like, he was based on a rubber duck. I love that about Dio so much. He's just a cute little character.
He's adorable. I also love his little antenna kind of hair thing going on. He's just so unique.
Yeah. And then speaking of cute,
y'all enjoy your PC games. I it's not my thing. I will stick to PS2 games.
I can play PC games and I can play Nintendo.
My,
and that is it.
My gaming level has not progressed since 2007. Okay.
I'm finally. I tried that sentence twice and it didn't work at the time. I'm finally playing Fallout 4.
For what?
Jeez. What are you, me? Shut up.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
It was good. I haven't played Fallout 76 yet, even though it's got Mothman in it.
Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah.
All right.
So, speaking of cute characters.
Ooh, okay.
This is not a bit. I feel the need to preface this. But yeah, my favorite droid is a type of droid. Ever since I was very small, my first Build-A-Bear.
So yesterday.
I'm going to lean over here and flip you off. So, yes, I'm small. Ever since
it's not a screen, you can't get mad, Mom.
Very little. I have had a fascination, one might say, with rabbit-shaped things. My first Build-A-Bear was a bunny. I
Aw.
named her Fluffy. I still have her somewhere in the room.
It's not a
Yeah.
bit. This is genuine.
It is
you
completely
love
genuine.
these things.
Above our bed, I have a trio of stuffed rabbits that I absolutely adore.
Mm-hmm.
And I love bunny-shaped things. I don't know what it is. My hard punk exterior may make you think otherwise.
Right?
But I'm tough, okay.
So tough.
I'm so
Tough as a bunny.
I'm tough as a bunny.
And tough as that bunny from Monty Python's Holy
Yes,
Grail.
actually. Very cute.
Right? It's like, Year of the Rabbit. The rabbit.
Yeah. Ever since we watched Clone Wars.
Yes. Jorgen fruit. I think
Fruit.
that was the first episode. I
That
might be
was.
mistaken.
No. That is the first one because I
think so.
remember being filled with such immediate joy.
Yeah, nothing else in the episode registered.
in seeing the droids, rabbit droids, bunny droids. I
Aw.
freaking love
Charlie's right there
bunny
with you.
droids. Oh yeah, bunnies are great, man. They have awesome long ears for the stroking, and like I'm just a big fan of stuffed rabbits, but also not stuffed rabbits. Hello, Boba.
Yeah,
It's good
Boba's
to
here.
see you. Yeah, I love bunny droids so much, not just because of their design, because they are very well designed. They've got the long ears and they've got the pot belly that I love, a chubby little droid. But yeah, they make adorable noises. And then you got the Book of Boba Fett. Seeing a droid realized for the first time, that was amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
If they ever make a statue or like model of that droid, we're getting it.
For sure.
Absolutely.
I needed them to come up with an excuse to make one in Black Series scale. For sure.
Oh, do it with the Boba Fett.
You know what's sad is so many of our list aren't Black Series.
Yeah.
Which is sad. Like, make them into little plastic things I can collect and believe that are real and life isn't bad.
We had a couple of battle droids around, but they're not Black Series.
No, I have one. I have one there with Grievous, but it's just they've just done, well, they recently did the one from Going Commando, the video game, but it's just a straight repaint. It's not, they haven't gotten deep into the repaints that they can do with battle droids yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing, is they haven't gotten interesting with it.
Yeah.
Just yet. So
yeah, that's my number one. Purely cute factor.
Yeah, Lep droids. Very adorable. So speaking of battle droids. So now, if you know, one of our things here is that in building the list, like some overlap amongst guests and everything is bound to happen. And if you match up with somebody, no matter where it is on the list, you go ahead and reveal it then, because there's no point talking about it later when we've already talked about it. But we technically haven't talked about this because you specifically said B1 battle droids.
Yes, I did say.
And there is a difference, because my number one is the security battle droid. It's a very specific battle droid.
Fine, I guess.
So for those uninitiated, all right, so the battle droids are basically the specialist droids. You really only see them in episode 1, although eventually throughout the Clone Wars, we do see commanders. So anytime you see a commander droid, which has the yellow markings, that's an series. The OOM is just to classify that they're a little bit smarter than the other ones.
Little bit.
But although the commander was the one that would always get seen around, there were 3 battle droids. There's the yellow commander, which you see in episode 1. He's the one that gives the order, check it out, Corporal, we'll cover you, right? When Anakin's flying his N1 starfighter through the Trade Federation ship, the Lucre Hulk. I had to say that because somebody was going to be like, you don't know what it's called. I do. It's just words are hard. You see
Eli's
him
not here. You don't have to be afraid.
You see him drive by, fly by a like control tower, and in that control tower are 2 droids with blue markings, which are called pilot droids. Which is funny because the ships are droids.
They're
so
talking to the ship.
They don't pilot anything. And then finally, my favorite of them, which if you're following along, we've got yellow, blue. The only Star Trek color not covered yet is red. And so security droids are the one. So check it out, Corporal will cover you. Roger, Roger. That's the red marked ones in the opening scene are the security droids.
Mm-hmm.
I love these suckers so much. Number one, they're red.
Yes, your favorite color is red.
Bonus points for that. Number two, it was like one of the few figures on shelves when I would go out and try and find Star Wars toys after episode 1 released. The initial wave of stuff, all of the, very well known and big character stuff was always gone. The Newt Gunrays, the Palpatines, the Padmes, the Obi-Wans, the Qui-Gons, all of the bulk of actual characters were very rarely accessible. It wasn't until later when they started getting into the Adigalias, the Plo Koons, the not Mace Windu's.
Yep, not Mace Windu.
That it was like, okay, now I'm starting to get stuff. And then they got into play sets. My first Qui-Gon and only Qui-Gon figure for a long time was the one that came with the, not the Cola Clawfish, the, what's he called? I don't know, but the shrimp one. The big one that bites the speeder.
Yeah.
And so my Qui-Gon action figure, I'd be playing like they're supposed to be fighting Darth Maul, and he'd have a mask in his hand, and his head was sculpted up because he was supposed to be swimming. So not very fun. But one of the things I would constantly find, and it was kind of like a consolation prize of just like, well, I'm not leaving empty-handed. It's still Star Wars. I'd buy a security droid. I'd buy a battle droid. And I don't know. It's just that nostalgia of like remembering like specifically standing in checkout line with 3 of these things in the cart. And my mom being like, why? Why?
Because we're building an army mother.
And so I had so many of these, and they also got tossed and given away in bulk because they were just kind of everywhere all the time and everything. So if you're ever wondering what you can ever buy me, if you ever like, not that you should, or I'm asking you to, but
do it.
If anybody's ever just like, oh, it's your birthday, I'm glad you're still alive, or Merry Christmas, and you need an idea, buy me a Power of the Force security battle droid with the red markings. I will take any and every one given to me, and I will love you forever. It doesn't even have to be in package. I just want one. I just want them. So it's all nostalgia. And that's the thing that won out for me is like, I know I said like I went out of my way to get characters because like that's what I fall in love with these things. This one wins because it's just like, I don't want any other droid that much.
Dude, I literally picked something based on cuteness.
Right. Like,
you are among friends here.
He's on the same level of like, if I see a Boba Fett thing, I get it because it's Boba Fett. Like if I see a security droid, I'm getting it because it's a security droid. It's the coolest version of the battle droid. It's so cool. And they're never seen again after that. Never seen again. Which I don't know. I guess they just didn't want to animate or color the new ones. But yeah, it was interesting. I liked it a lot. It continued the trend of baddies having red security. You had Palpatine with his, you had the Coruscant security clone troopers that were marked red. Like it continued that trend of, oh, even here, even them, they have droids that fill that same role. It's just interesting. I don't know. Yeah. So there you go. Nothing special, but it's my favorite.
And that's what makes it special.
Yep. So we had a few chime off in the chat. We had a couple of BB-8s. And so we love to continue to hear and know what your favorite droids are. So like I mentioned, our social media links are in the description. So hit us up, just randomly at us with, I like this one. And that's a great way to make friends. But show us your deep and thoughtful list to counter our nostalgic and fun list. Whatever floats your boat and tickles your goat, man. But we are back to deep, thoughtful stuff next week because...
Says who?
Well, says the content, because we're going to have to think and feel some things because we are talking about the long-awaited, not really, but I'm excited about it. I finally watched Stranger Things.
Yes.
So next week we're
Oh,
gonna
you're gonna have to watch season 4.
I need to watch season 4 before then.
Oh
So
my god.
we're gonna be joined by friends and talk about that and
Yeah.
what a newbie thinks, kind of like we did with Lord of the Rings, but
Yeah, you haven't been sitting
of all
with
at
it
once.
since 20 something.
If you haven't seen it, watch it ahead of time, because we're not going to like constructively walk through the
No.
details. It's going to kind of be a big overview. You know, blocking off 4 episodes or taking a whole month just to talk about Stranger Things, I'm not too sure about. Maybe we'll revisit after this, but nonetheless, we will be talking Stranger Things. How much and how detailed, we'll see. But it's the topic next week. I'm excited. Our guest is very excited. Piglet's excited. And so hopefully you are as well. And hopefully you'll join us for that. Remember, we're live every Sunday at 8.
You almost said Thursday.
I did for some reason.
We are not Bombadcast.
No, but you should watch them. We are one of 2 of our friends that go live on Sunday. So luckily, if you tune in for us, you're ending pretty closely just in time to go watch our friends over at Broaxium shoot the poodoo. But you could also check out all of our wonderful guests as well on their various days of posting and streaming and all that good stuff. But yeah, check it out live, join the conversation, have fun. But otherwise, if you're listening to this after the fact, that's amazing, because gosh, we're bad at this. You're great. I'm here. And it is what it is. 300 episodes, and we're still just as normal as we always have been. But we do appreciate you all being there. Brennen, love you, buddy. Shout out to our patron, Brennen, and all of our other patrons. Like I said, if you want some of the perks, now include commentaries of maybe Star Warsy things in the future.
Maybe
all kinds of
things.
fun stuff. In addition to helping just make the show happen, you do get some bonuses. And so right now, you can check out our commentary of Face Off and check out our episode last week if you haven't already about Face Off. All fun stuff.
And if you live in the same city as us and you're a patron, you get the added bonus of being an actual friend of ours.
Yeah,
Hi,
we get to go
Graeme.
to dinner regularly. Well, not really, because we're bad at plans because we're adults nearly 30. So, but nonetheless, everybody just move to Augusta and we'll just open a compound, the Nerdherder compound. You know, it'll be fine.
Everybody move to Chicago.
That won't go wrong at all. Like on day 7, we'll have a Kool-Aid party. It'll be fine.
I'm hoping you did.
It's Flavor Aid, I know.
It was cheaper.
It was really Flavor Aid, and this show is really done. And so we once again invite you to join us next week, where we'll continue this party. But for the meantime, always remember, stay scruffy.
Wait a minute. You know, this is, excuse me, a damn fine cup of coffee.